We have Mike of Mikey Boards fame. I'm sure many of you have been on his chat room and been on his boards and taken advantage of all the information. And Mike is a cleaner still to this day. He started in 1986 with the infamous Millers, the company that pioneered the bait and switch. Not that Mike was involved in that in any way, of course.
Not at all, not at all.
But they made a name for themselves in the industry. And then around 1988, Mike moved on to Coit when he left the San Fernando Valley and went up to beautiful Santa Cruz, and has a custom cleaning business there, which is currently being run by his son-in-law. So in '88, spent a little stint with Coit. And I can still remember Mike going to my CCT class at Coit Burlingame. And I thought, how did you drive up here every day from Santa Cruz? He says, nah, they trust me. I've got a truck down there and I send them the money once in a while, and it seemed to work out. So if you've been trained by fire with those two organizations, to come through and be able to talk about it is pretty amazing. Maybe you could give us a little bit of overview. We'll skip your checkered past and jump to Santa Cruz when you started your own company.
Yeah. You know, Aaron, I'll never forget the look at your face when we had the hands-on session at Coit, and you asked me to show how I pre-treated or pre-sprayed the furniture, and I fired up the truck mount, hooked up the Hydroforce, and proceeded to soak down the sofa. It was all about being expedient back then.
Yeah. When you got 6 jobs a day, you got to be able to turn them and burn them. Yeah.
6 jobs with 100 miles between each one. Yeah. I look back at those days. I cannot fathom how I used to do 6, 7 jobs from San Jose down to Carmel with stops in Gilroy and Morgan Hill and Salinas, and you have to sell on every one of them. If you don't sell, you're
Sure.
working for free. And yeah, honestly, I cannot recall how I used to do it because I'm so slow now, doing 1 or 2 jobs a day with 13 dry passes and vacuuming for 2 hours before even getting it wet. It's a whole different world.
Well,
what was your question again about Santa Cruz?
Yeah, well, once you saw the light and you started your own.
Yeah, the light was the same glow here. It was the internet. I worked for Coit for 13 years, and in 1999, a Coit manager made the mistake of showing me the ICS and CleanFax discussion boards.
Oh, yeah.
And now all of a sudden I had carpet cleaners that knew more than me to talk to. None of the Coit guys knew anything, and they're all there for the same reason as me. They didn't have any business skills or anything. And not that the numbers were vast, but there might have been 300 or 400 carpet cleaners on the internet back then. Mm-hmm. But it was just, it didn't take me long to get the courage and to go out on my own. And I asked Coit before leaving, if they had a management position or something. I couldn't go on because the internet kind of ruined me. It slowed me down. I learned that, the value of pre-vacuuming and scrubbing with a, 175 and dry stroking and a bunch of little stuff. And I was kind of spoiled at Coit because they knew that I took care of my equipment and I would give them good feedback. So they're always giving me the latest, greatest tools, which, a company like Coit gets lots of. If you come out with a new widget, you give it to a Coit and a Stanley in hopes that they're going to buy thousands of them. So the Coit management always gave me the coolest stuff. And I got a new truck every 10 months on average.
Wow.
Because I took care of them and, had that remote route. But yeah, the internet kind of turned me in the right direction to be a better cleaner. And Coit wasn't allowing me to do that, giving me these huge routes, So I got them down to giving me 4 jobs a day. But even that was not really doable. I started to lose money. I was making pretty good money there at the time, benefits and everything. But as I was slowing down and not having the opportunity to upsell the air duct cleaning and draperies and all of that, I saw my salary going down. So it was time to take the plunge. And that was 2001. And boy, I came out of the gate pretty darn good. Bought a brand new Butler, and Santa Cruz was a pretty small town back then. They had a little article in the paper that, Mike Pailliotet was going out on his own. And I think the first year in 80, or what they said, 2001, I think I did 140,000, with no advertising or anything. And it wasn't bad.
Oh, not bad at $2001. I mean, that's
yeah. No. But I think it was 2006 where I'd been on the forums at ICS, CleanFax, and then John Gurkink's forum, the old Blue Board, and I was always, we'll just call it obnoxious, and I got kicked off all those forums for being too opinionated and offensive to the advertisers. So I had to start my own because I was already addicted. And as soon as Mikey board started, I mean, there was no Facebook back then, and CleanFax had kind of dried up by then, and ICS was real slow. So Mikey's board just exploded. I mean, we had a couple thousand people on there within the first couple of days.
And what year was that, Mike?
2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the database, we're still going strong. We're really the only active forum out there anymore. Everything's gone to Facebook. And the database there is immense. There's thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of conversations on every subject multiple times, so you can use the search feature to find the answer to anything carpet cleaning, and owner op business related, stone, water damage, you name it.
How did you monetize it? I mean, it must be expensive to set something up like that and have the servers.
Yeah, at first that was kind of our goal, is that we weren't going to have advertisers, and so we could speak freely, and that was kind of our niche. And as the other forums dried up and the magazines, started getting less popular, all the manufacturers were begging us to advertise. It was the only place to go. I mean, there was nowhere else to go talk about carpet cleaning.
Well, I remember you were having a get together, Mike, and I was like, "You're not going to invite us? What's wrong? Why aren't we invited?" I was working for, I think it must have been ProChem at the time.
Yeah. So I had a lawyer write up, and we still use it to this day, where when we get an advertiser interested, the contract, all in Latin there says that you will be slandered and you will be humiliated and everything else, and things usually correct themselves.
And you're going to pay us for that.
What's that?
And they're going to pay you for that slander.
Yeah, they're going to pay me for being slandered. But I can count on, 3 fingers the times that I've had, an advertiser call me and say, "Hey, Mike, can you remove that comment or something?" They usually, so if they're bagging on a chemical or machine or service, usually, somebody that knows how to use it correctly, will come to their own defense, and the things just manage to settle themselves. It's never been an issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have a pretty good bird's eye view of the industry with all those people on your site. What do you see the state of our carpet cleaning industry today, and particularly with COVID?
With COVID, I think it's a dream environment for the owner op that really takes their time and offers multiple services. If you're a multi-trucker and you're struggling to find employees that have all their teeth and can communicate with customers, and you're gonna have a tough time. I mean, homeowners they know that where that guy's been, right? Multiple homes, and they know he's fly-by-night employee, if you want to call him that, and they're struggling. I was talking to good old Mark Sager today about some Stanley steamer and zero res operations that are making huge dramatic changes for their employees right now. All to deal with this, try and save money, taking well salaried Stanley steamer employees that that they were helping them buy homes. Stanley was helping their employees buy homes, and taking really good care of them. This is in the South, not in California, but and now they put them all on hourly, $13 an hour.
Whoa.
And all these guys are just going, forget it, so the Stanley steamer just created 100 owner ops to compete with. And who's going to go clean carpets for $13 an hour with no overtime, no benefits? And there's 1,000 other things you can do that doesn't involve all the fun of cleaning carpet.
Yeah.
And then Zero Res is dropping their commercial division, which was doing, this was a Zero Res in Minnesota. They're dropping $1.5 million division and just going to let their residential guys do it. And they had a distinctive, set aside commercial division doing it. But yeah, I mean, I know for us, myself, because I'm still out there cleaning, and my daughter and her boyfriend, they're doing fantastic. They had a record year. I had a record year, but people trust us, And so if you got an owner operator type business where usually it's about 60% repeat, and it's and all your customers are coming from referral, very, very little to no advertising, I think you're going to do well through all this. People trust you, and be very wise of you to offer more services. And when you get into a house like that and they love you and trust you and they leave the key under the mat, the blank check, offer as many services as possible. Do tile and grout and countertops and upholstery and area rugs, and stay legit. Don't branch out too much and all this sanitizing hoo-ha that's going on right now. But
we were talking the other day, Mike, when you left your daughter to handle the Santa Cruz market when you moved over towards the Reno area. You were talking about her boyfriend, how he was new, he hadn't cleaned, and I thought that was pretty inspirational. We're all trying to figure out, how do we make more money per job? How do we, what presentation skills do we need to upsell? And we were talking about her boyfriend and how he's done. You can talk.
Well, he's been with her a long time, and he's watched my daughter's frustrations at dealing with other employees and not being totally committed. And this guy's very prim and proper, and dresses real well. You always think he's in brand new clothes, and very passionate about whatever work he's doing at the time. And he took on the carpet cleaning thing, and he started studying up, watching every YouTube video, spending God knows how many hours on my forum and the Facebook pages. And we sent him to Jim Pemberton's fine fabric class, because we do a lot of jillionaire high-end stuff in the Santa Cruz Bay Area. And man, he just took off. We had a little dip for a couple of weeks in February last year when COVID first hit, and Santa Cruz went on complete lockdown. But the phones people were calling, and he's just offering the utmost service. And like I was telling you guys, his invoices are just immaculate. I mean, every inch is spoken for, and there's no guesswork about what they paid for. And when you're charging $90 to $1.50 a foot to clean these nice carpets, people want to know how the master bedroom came out, whether the charge wise. And so he breaks down every little area, and it just kind of makes more sense when they see it that way, that the walk-in closet was whatever, $50-$60. They know he spent some considerable time in there doing the whole tarp and corner guard and hand edging and scrubbing and multiple dry strokes and fan assist drying and the whole deal. And it just makes sense. But he's running a $735 job average last year, and by himself with 1 year experience of being a helper. In that COVID year, he did 400,000 almost to the dot with no water damage, and just a little bit of area rug cleaning in a makeshift little plant in the garage. So just providing that top-notch service. And Santa Cruz is a really weird market. You guys know it. But it's a .com bedroom community where there's a lot of husbands and wives pulling in 400, $500,000 or way more, and they have no problem spending $1,000 getting their house clean. You try that here in Gardnerville, Nevada. They'll string you up. All these old retirees, It's kind of funny in Gardnerville when I get somebody that's fresh over over from California, which is most of the case. I can charge California prices, but you go see them a year later where they've settled into retirement and they're counting their pennies. Boy, it's a whole different viewpoint, once they got that budget set. Wow. But no, we've been doing well. It's typical February. That's the slowest month of the year for any West Coast cleaner. People are in between waiting to see what the weather's going to do, and the they've already cleaned up their January and December parties, so it's always slow. This is a time when you work on your trucks. And
Pretty slow in Dallas this week too.
oof, incredible, huh?
They might as well move to Canada if it keeps up.
Yeah, get some free healthcare, right?
So also, you've become involved in the IICRC. You're on the S100, and I guess you go to the board meetings. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that and kind of your view of the IICRC from the inside looking out.
Yeah, I'm a shareholder rep for Jim Pemberton, who's one of the original 3 shareholders that bought into Ed York's promises back in, when was that, in the 70s?
Yeah, early
70s. Yeah. So, Lee can't travel anymore. He's in his late 80s, and his son was a shareholder rep for him for a while. Then John Downey, the guy that started CleanFacts, and they've moved on to other things. So Lee asked me to do it, and I don't know. I'm IICRC certified. I let it go. I never was really impressed. Like he asked 9 out of 10 cleaners, and they're all going to give you the same answer. They got their patches, and what did they do for them beyond that? Why should they continue to pay these yearly fees? But at a shareholder meeting, I went to the first meeting, and it was just kind of a perfect storm that Kevin Pearson was taking over as chairman of the board. And Kevin's a super down to earth guy, and he's just used to be an owner op, grew a nice business, sold it off. Now he's I think he's an inspector and moved some water damage equipment. But he and I just hit it off. And Kevin's one of those guys where if it's the right thing, do it. And I threw some ideas out there to him about some things I think the IICRC should be doing, and he was like, "Yeah, you're right." And we were having an event, a Mikey's Fest, like a month later. This was November 19, I guess, and he came and attended that, and it just blew him away. Anybody comes to one of my events, and they've changed a lot over the years, but now how we've incorporated in the charity aspect of cleaning a Ronald McDonald house one day, and we were doing it in Phoenix. That was the one he came to, where we did actually 3 houses on 3 different campuses. And then we had 2 days of speakers. And I bring in, really good down there speakers that just kind of come in and tell their story. None of them got anything to sell. They're just successful cleaners or business people, and they're willing to spill their guts, let's say. And Kevin was just blown away. So he wanted to get more involved with that, and they're starting to sponsor the events. And long story short, I told Kevin about a thing that Brian Thompson, who Tim knows. Brian used to work with Legend Brands, and Brian just very romantic about tile and stone, especially stone. And he and I have been good buddies for a while, and we wanted to do a class on that whole premise of spending more time in the home, offering more services. So we created an advanced hard surface course where we spend 3 or 4 days going over everything to do in the home but clean carpet. So we talk about countertop restoration, tile and grout cleaning, a lot of tile and grout repair, how to fix those loose tiles, how to recaulk shower walls, bathtubs, kitchen backsplashes, underneath sinks, because all these things are super easy to do. You need about $10 worth of tools, and you just got to have some color matching skills, know what material to use, and the right thing to use where when you got flex issues or water intrusion or whatnot. But it's all real basic stuff. So we teach that. We teach in-home rug cleaning. Sorry, Aaron, I know that's
I didn't hear you say it.
yeah, that's not your thing, but it's a reality with all these, Costco and IKEA junk rugs that, cost them $100. They're not going to spend $400 to clean in the rug plant. So we go over mostly low moisture cleaning of rugs in the home, dealing with LVP and, all the latest wood lookalike products. What else do we do? Wood, a whole segment on wood floors. But it's basically about 7 different micro courses over these 3 or 4 days. And it's all very, very hands-on. We bring in all kinds of props. When we did it at the IICRC building, we fixed all kinds of things in their location, all kinds of counters and walls. We polished the marble entry, tile repair, did their carpet, and just was just a phenomenal course. And we had probably about 30 people on that one, which turned out to be too many. You know, we did a satisfaction survey at the end, and that was the number one thing, is people felt they needed a little more time. So we're doing another one in North Carolina in April, and we cut it down to 13 people.
Oh, okay.
So they definitely get more hands-on, and that's at the MB Stone Training Center. So we got, you know, multiple shower stalls and countertops, and, you know, every stone known to man already on the floor. So the guys are really going to get a, you know, fantastic education on stonework. And it's, you know, it's not a super advanced stone stuff, which you can never stop learning on that. It's just like area rug cleaning, but you got to know some of the basics. You know, you got to be able to do some minor repair, and that's what most people are willing to pay for: minor resurfacing. You know, the real hardcore stuff where you're leveling it and, you know, doing 5-6 steps. I mean, that's a whole different world that really most carpet cleaners aren't manned up to do. You know, it's kind of like restoration. You got to have a whole nother division for that. It's very hard to predict your time. You know, for example, we had planned on spending 1 hour cleaning and sealing the marble entry at the IICRC building. And one of the guys goofed and used something a little too strong, scratched the floor, and it took us 18 man hours to fix that floor. Because we weren't really equipped to resurface it all, but it was such a great learning experience that the students just, how do you mimic that in a class, you know?
How do people hear about when you're going to hold these? You mentioned there's one in April. Is it on your board? Is that?
It's on the board. There's you go to mikeysfest.com. That's the easiest way. And we got all our future events on there and how to sign up, and as much detail as possible. So that's always changing. And although these classes aren't really a Mikey's Fest, that's just the best place to host the information and sign up pages for those. But then there's a Mikey's Fest events Facebook page for the Facebook crowd, and that's updated constantly. We do have a Mikey's Fest hopefully planned for Phoenix in October of this year. It's all going to be dependent on COVID and, you know, whether or not they can let us into the Ronald McDonald houses there.
Mike, tell us a little bit about how the Ronald McDonald charity cleaning came about.
Well, for years and years, you know, the Mikey's Fest, we would do, you know, a lot of hands-on stuff, and we would just use my commercial accounts. You know, they go out and play with the truck mounts with different tools, and we'd do, you know, hotels and restaurants and roller skating rinks and whatnot. And we were doing one in Nashville where our host, Jim Bardwell, thought it'd be cool if we went and cleaned an autism school for the kids. And I don't know, however many showed up. It was on the last day, 30, 40 of us. And it was a ton of fun. We all felt really good about it, but it only took us like 2 hours. You know,
I remember.
it was kind of a small deal. So a few of us started brainstorming. We heard about, you know, somebody that was doing one of the Ronald McDonald houses in the Tampa area, Tampa, Florida. But there were 3 going unloved, very unloved. I mean, they were really getting abused. And one of them was a very old house, had a lot of mold issues. So we made some phone calls, and that just came to be. And we went back to that Tampa 2 or 3 times, and word just spread amongst the managers at the Ronald McDonald houses. And, you know, they talk to each other and have little networks and whatnot. And geez, since then we've done, I think, 12 or 13 different cities now, all around the country. And sometimes they call, and with like a 2 weeks notice. That's how, well, hell, Tim, when we did San Diego, whenever that was 2 weeks. And I put the word out, you know, to the Interlink down there, and I think CFI may have gotten involved, but we showed up with over 50 people to take care of that house, and that was a whopper, huge house. And we were there till like 7 at night.
That was a lot bigger than anybody expected, I think.
Yeah,
it looked that big from the outside.
Super long hose runs and just in horrible shape. And they're dying to have us back.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the satisfaction you get from that and from the people staying there.
Yeah, and I know CFI gets together and does the house in Palo Alto, but I know that, you know, it's a handful of cleaners show up, and it's kind of a race to the finish. It's, you know, every cleaning company gets a segment, and it's just, let's get it done. We show up with so many dang people, sometimes 150 people, that we really slow it down and turn it into an educational event. We get a lot of veterans, 30, 40, 50 years of experience that are willing to take the time and, take the ham of a brand new guy, may not even have a piece of equipment yet, but he heard about the event and really turned it into a class, we can call it. So it's, it's a huge win-win. I mean, I don't know what it is about the carpet cleaning industry, but all us old guys love to give back and teach what we know. And then you got the new guys, being graced with with that presence. And then, the kids and the families all benefit from it, because that's money not spent, that can go much better places, food and clothing, and just the running of those homes, which is very expensive. Yeah. So they save a lot of money to come in. I mean, some of them have, asked what it would have cost, and most of the time it's, $30,000-$40,000 for what we did. We did a lot. I mean, some of them are huge, absolutely huge.
It's a great charity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of become the adopted charity of the carpet cleaning industry, oddly enough, because there's so many of the homes nationwide that get graced with free cleaning from our industry. And it's although a lot of the homes are switching to LVP, we've done some where there was no carpet there, but we cleaned all their furniture and all their cheapo rugs. And all that LVP, because they're just running a Swiffer and Fabuloso or whatever and gunking it all up. So we'll come in and scrub it and rinse it. But we do kind of prefer to do the carpet ones. Carpet's more fun.
So what do you see in between your two businesses? You're talking a lot about hard surface. What are you finding in your businesses now? What percentage of hard surface to carpet?
Oh, here in Nevada, I think I'm 60% hard surface. Last time I looked. Santa Cruz, I'd say they're probably more 60% carpet. Just the new guy, the son-in-law, his comfort level, it takes a little bit more courage, I think, to clean tile and grout and stone. A little more experience. So I think he's turning away some of it at this point, because he's got so much carpet. That's a lot of people. I still. Some people, it's all gone, everything's gone hard surface, and other people are still loaded, in colder climates. That I see it on my farm. A lot of people say, it'd be fun to learn to clean tile and grout, but I can't keep up with all the carpet. So they just turn it down, but in other areas, take Phoenix, for example, if you don't know how to deal with travertine, for example, know how to restore a little bit, you're going to starve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not hard, but you do need to be able to identify what you're looking at. It's just like with cleaning rugs. Don't call her polyester rug wool, and vice versa. And you need to know if you're going to have an intelligent conversation with the customer. You need to know what stone it is. Not need to know exactly. I mean, stone can be broken down. There can be 100 types of travertine and marble, granite, and all that. But you got to know the basics.
Yeah.
Just like with roll rugs, you should know somewhat of the country of origin. Furniture, same thing. But yeah, a lot of people trying to figure out how to do hard surface, and the plague of our industry is dealing with topical coatings and all the nightmares that go with that, disrupting the baseboards and the paint and the cabinets and everything else, trying to get that stuff off, because a lot of people back out of hard surface once they walk into one of those jobs, and it takes them all week to get it off, and they lost a week, pissed off all their carpet clients because they didn't know how to ID that there was a wax finish on there, and they did the right thing. They spent the time to get it off, whereas there are people that just say, "Sorry, lady, this isn't my problem." They leave, and don't want to do that. But that's one of the things we go over in our course a lot is how to spot it, because it's not easy sometimes. It's hiding under a layer of dirt, so you gotta be on your game to spot it, but sometimes it gets the best of us.
Some of the trends that you've kind of touched on that seem to be challenged is labor for people that want to have multi-truck operations. Facing the change in style of going from soft surfaces to hard surfaces. What else do you see trend-wise that's out there that's coming or on the way that
I see a whole lot of diehard hot water guys as they're getting older. They're not switching, but embracing low moisture cleaning. I myself, I used to poke fun at guys that would do low moisture in the home, but I got a lot of customers that don't have pets, they don't have kids, and they just got coffee spots and wine spots they want removed. They have it, steam clean once or twice a year, but they'll call in and, just need a touch up. And the new modern oscillating pad machines with these microfiber pads. I don't know, for years and years, all the OP machines were like running a jackhammer, just beat you up. And you could only, if you wanted to turn left, you had to, face right. And it was just a nightmare to run the things. And the all cotton pads, they would smear up with dirt in 2 or 3 feet. You just had, you had to have a stack of pads 2 feet high to do a normal home. But these new polyester blends and microfiber pads that are 2-sided with an absorbent foam core, they do far less damage for one thing. The throw on these, the oscillation, the amount of movement they have now is greater. So they're less prone to twisting and fraying and making pile carpet look like Don King. So they're a lot gentler on the carpet, as well as the microfiber glides easier. And people just want the spots gone. The whole thing about where does the dirt go? Well, it goes into the pad. If you take one of these microfiber pads and put in a 5-gallon bucket of hot water, let it sit in there a couple minutes and swish it around, that water will look like it just came out of your truck mount tank. If you go on my YouTube channel, I got a couple of videos showing that. I mean, you remove a lot of dirt. You get everything? No, but either the steam clean. And for a lot of carpets, there just ain't that much dirt in there.
Well, for touching
on a nice home where they're vacuuming once or twice a week, and they're just a little bit of spots coming out of the kitchen. They love it, especially this time of year. The door stays closed, the carpet's dry in an hour, the spots are gone, smells fresh. How do you fight that? Yeah. So yeah, if you're closed-minded or never tried it, I'm really fond of the Tops company Trinity OP systems, because all the owners and everybody there are still cleaners, and they're out in the field and developing this stuff, and they got a great line of chemicals and pads, and the machines are super sturdy and just super smooth to run. I've ran them for 2 weeks straight on big commercial projects. It's with no problems. The old ones used to vibrate your hands, after an hour you lost all feeling. These new ones, they really got it down. So
I think the original ones were more for sanding wood floors. We tried to turn them into a carpet cleaning machine.
Yeah, remember the little square ones?
Yeah.
They didn't move. They would just beat the heck out of you. Horrible.
But I noticed in our company, ChemSpec has a product called Encap Right 2. It's an encapsulation product with peroxide.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you said, all these stains, we got a lot of hotels and a lot of people are buying that just to kind of go over, some of those areas to get rid of some slight stains. And
yeah, it's it's nothing to run it. I've done 1,000 feet of carpet with 3 gallons of water and 2 ounces of chemistry. It's a no-brainer. And if you're running crews, it's very easy to teach. Much easier than teaching them how to hot water extract. Will I ever get rid of my truck mount? Heck no. I'm residentially wise, I'm probably still 90% hot water extraction because of pets and kids and grease and grime, but it's going in the other direction, starting to do more and more. And my guy there in Santa Cruz, boy, he's got one of those machines, and he's doing like mega mansions, for the .comers. Where I was telling you guys, 3 times last year he did this one estate where it's everything in there, Visosky rugs, everything would shrink or bleed with hot water. You got to, really take your time. He's able to go in there with that one machine and do these $30,000 projects, just him and one little machine and a bunch of pads. It's incredible. And they keep calling back. They're happy as can be about it. The doors stay closed. You can go in there with his white Crocs on. And
well, one of the words that you mentioned a moment ago was glide. And you're certainly involved with glides for hot water extraction. Tell us about that.
Got these things coming out my ears. Yeah, it was 2004. It was all Tim's fault, actually, when Coit gave me their first hydraulic truck mount. Remember that monster?
I do.
I got the first one, and it came with the first ProChem titanium one. Had the Ruger cast head, that big wide opening. It just beat the heck out. It was impossible to move that thing. And it's a long story, but that was a big part of getting these glides made, for that titanium wand. And, Jeff and Lisa that started Green Glides, it's kind of funny because I basically coerced them into doing it. They had a real small carpet cleaning company that wasn't doing so hot. And I told them they could sell a ton of these things. And they found a local fabricator, and they took it upon themselves to make 3 styles of glides for every wand ever made. And they still, well, now I own them, but now I got thousands of glides that will never sell because there was, 2 wands made for the big red truck mount, back in 1960 or something. And they'd have to make a dozen of each, to get a good price. And they only ever sold one or gave away one to the person that donated that wand. Anyways, Lisa wanted to get out of it. She kind of lost her passion last year, and she basically sold me and John Olson from Superior Cleaning Solutions out in Utah, the company. He does the shipping and receiving, and I do the marketing end. And we've been redesigning and coming up with different products, and got some really exciting stuff coming out if you're a hot water guy. And you can greenglides.com. We actually got a website now. She did it for all those years without a website, with just email orders. And right out of the gate, just having a website and having inventory, we've been able to do some pretty incredible sales for the glides during a COVID year.
And for people that are not familiar with glides, Mike, why a glide? What does it do for you?
I don't know. So this, you can kind of see that channel there. This will clip or slide on to virtually any carpet cleaning wand made. And maybe the number one benefit is it takes all the fight out of your shoulder and elbow. So it's going to make you clean a lot longer in your career if that's your goal. Makes it very easy to do. Because most wands lock down, they bite down, they got metal lips. So it's much easier on your body. It increases the velocity of the air by narrowing down the channel. I don't know if you can see that there. It's generally going to be like half the width. So the air speeds up and makes it much easier to not only push it, but the airflow gets intensified so that your drying is just going to be cutting in half or not better. Wicking and browning, all those issues are greatly reduced. It's the glide provides protection in transition areas and against baseboards because it forms a bumper around the metal edge of the wand. And it takes a little bit of learning. I mean, I'd be surprised. We've got 24 people on here. I'd be willing to bet you, 22 of them use a glide. There's certain people that when they lose that bite, they feel like they're losing their agitation, which is true. These things don't agitate very well. But if you're using tack, like the IICRC teaches you, and you pre-vacuum and you pre-spray and you give it some dwell time and scrub when needed, your wand should just be used as a rinsing tool. The old scrub wand, that should go away. You shouldn't be scrubbing carpet with your wands. All you do is over agitate and over wet them. So if you use the glide properly, and we have a few different vacuum slots. This is a slot, which you can see there, mimics what you got. But we have some where they're more perforated, more of a hole or a kind of a hybrid pattern we call it, where it's a hole slot, and that makes it even easier to push, which is desirable on real thick velvets or area rugs, where it's going to grab less. So, I mean, what customer doesn't want quicker dry times? And they clean just as deep, but you do have to spend a little more time prepping the carpet for them. You do got to pre-vacuum. There's not you're not going to suck up popcorn and Legos and soft pellets and all that, So most owner operators that are, working in homes that are pre-vacuumed and, not too greasy, grimy, they'll love them. If you're cleaning just messy apartments and you can't charge for vacuuming and you got to, use your wand to suck all that stuff up, you're not going to be a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think almost all the new wands are coming with their own glides, whether they're Teflon or hard plastic for a little more longevity. Mm-hmm. It's just become an adopted way of the industry. It's unusual to see anybody not using one at this point, from where I'm looking anyways.
I had one guy who said he didn't like them because he didn't feel he was working hard enough.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Yeah,
he's working very long into his career like that.
Yeah, it wrecks your arms and elbows, and lightweight wands are wonderful. I've been using the wand that Tim Baker's company works for, the Sapphire Scientific, which is, real thin titanium. And I think the whole wand weighs 8 pounds, I think the Glide weighs more than the wand. But boy, it's easy on you.
We had a question about OP systems.
Uh-huh. That's what I was talking about there, the oscillating pad system. I'm a huge fan. I've done, all the methods of low moisture with the CRBs. CRBs, I keep one on my truck, the son-in-law. We got a bunch of them. We got all the different sizes. And I love the little 10-inch for pre-scrubbing tile and grout and scrubbing polyester carpets. But as a standalone low moisture, it doesn't really remove any soil when you're just spraying down an end cap and scrubbing it in. If you use compound with a CRB, I think that's great for doing, rugs that are going to shrink or bleed. But, there's whole franchises built around compound cleaning, but that's real slow and messy. And I don't know, not a great big fan of day-to-day compound cleaning. We've ran Cymexes for years where you're just scrubbing in the end cap, with a 3M fiber pad. And, you can make carpet look pretty darn good. We got some accounts we've done over 50 times with a Cymex. And they're obviously happy. They keep calling back and back. But I think we've sold all our Cymexes at this point and gone over to the OP where we're actually removing a ton of soil, using less chemical than the Cymex because you're using more agitation. But you just get a laundry bill, from washing all those pads. But pads are whatever, $12-15 a piece, and you can clean a whole lot of carpet with those pads before it's time to throw them away. But I just feel better actually removing some soil in the whole process. But for commercial, I've cleaned the filthiest, nastiest, greasiest restaurants with OP and made them look every bit as good as hot water extraction, and half the time, and with a fraction of the chemistry. I got this one restaurant chain here in northern Nevada that I've cleaned this. They have 4 locations. I've never cleaned any of the locations the same way twice. I'm always trying something different, and I've settled on the OP process. Where I pre-scrub it with a fiber pad under it to break all the condiment spots and greasy stuff loose, and then just run it's a neutral pH end cap. You don't need a bunch of pH when you got that kind of agitation. And works fantastic. Stays cleaner longer. You don't get that dirty, danky dishwater smell the next morning. When they come in, it's still wet and the mold and mildew starting to grow. But yeah, I'm a big fan.
Okay. One of the other trends, kind of looking for your comments on too, is the consolidation that we've seen from the distributor and manufacturer side. There have been people that have tried to do roll-ups with cleaning companies, and most of those failed, starting with Electrolux way back in the 80s.
Yeah.
But on the manufacturing and distribution side, seems like Wall Street has discovered carpet cleaners.
Yeah, all these what do you call these companies that buy up others? Everybody's getting bought up. John Don, Interlink. Legend Brands got acquired. It's like you said, Wall Street's taken over the cleaning industry. Luckily they leave them alone for the most part and let them kind of continue on and do their thing, but that's not always the case. But you were saying something about consolidation. You saw Cintas get into carpet cleaning, and that lasted maybe 5 or 6 years or something. But then I think it all turned into employees. They couldn't find people that would willingly, skillfully go out in the middle of the night and steam clean carpet, and they were losing more accounts than they were acquiring, so they gave up. I think if they'd gone the low moisture route, they'd probably still be doing it, sending out big giant Aerotech trucks. It doesn't matter how big that blower is if you're not doing dry strokes and proper hose management. But it's funny to see the industry shrinking. Far less manufacturers out there. I was looking at the floor map for the upcoming Experience trade show, and there's only like 10 carpet cleaning companies on the map. All the rest is restoration and soft wash, pressure washing and whatnot. They are shrinking. I wouldn't want to be in the retail end of it right now, that's for sure. Maybe an owner-op retail, where you can, if you have a good mechanic, that's that's really the hardest thing that John Don Interlink are dealing with, is finding truck mount mechanics.
Yes.
There's some of them, I think it was up in Portland or somewhere in the Northwest there, where they just won't sell truck mounts right now because they have nobody to install them or work on them.
That's always been the number one main issue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to mechanic school, I mean, you want to work on cars or big rigs or race cars, you don't want to work on carpet cleaning equipment. There's I was thinking a guy there in Vegas, Josh, man, he's so masterful. Vegas is so, it's an Interlink franchise. They're so lucky to have that guy. They should be bribing him highest salary as possible to keep him around. Very talented guy, but Tim will tell you, he's on the truck mount end.
Yeah, he started as a young man and he stuck with it. So
yeah. They're few and far between. It's become a real problem. I know Interlink's recently shut down a few stores for that reason alone. Just couldn't find, the mechanics or the salespeople. John Don's only got 3 truck mount salesmen now. You walk into a store and the John Don, they're going to put you on the phone with a guy. There's nobody there at the shop. You can talk to Steve Polos, Rick Aranda, or is it Cushing, Mike Cushing or something back east?
Yeah,
you're gonna deal with the whole thing over the phone and the internet. It's a whole different world. It's too easy to make money day trading these days. You're getting your free unemployment checks, $600 a week or whatever.
Mike, how do you do your shopping for your supplies? You mail order? You going into the stores? What are you doing?
No, it's all mail order. Everything.
Even over in Santa Cruz?
Yeah. No, everything comes through the mail. Here, I mean, we got a store up in Reno in Interlink. I think I've been here 6 years now. I think I've been there twice to have something worked on the 370. That was a warranty deal. But I'll be honest, I'd barter for a lot of my chemicals because through Mikey's board advertisers. My garage looks like a Legend Brands warehouse.
Thought you just collected samples from the trade shows.
Yeah, that too. A lot of stuff gets left behind at Mikey's Fest. I'm dragging around all these little 8-ounce bottles though. But yeah, no, most cleaners I know are going online, and John Don Interlink offer fantastic shipping. It's easy to find someone to throw stuff in the cardboard box, so it shows up quick. My partner John Olson, that's why I went with him, with Green Glides, because he's such a good shipper. I've always supported him. He's one of the few independents left. I know Pemberton Supply, he's super fast at turning things around. A lot of parts of the country will get the next day.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of remote cleaners out there that don't have a store to go to. But the two big ones are still good at it, and I know at least those two. I'm sure there's plenty of others, but those are the two I kind of deal with the most.
Yeah,
what's your crystal ball looking into it? Where do you see the industry in 5 years, 10 years?
Buying truck mounts off of Amazon. They get delivered overnight by a drone.
And getting them installed in China. I mean, we're the people that have the technical knowledge to install and service them.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's not like the units are getting any less complicated. When you look at the Hydromaster Legend brand, you got to have some skill to work on those machines. I'm fairly mechanically inclined, and I'm able to do most everything on the, our slide ends and our Aero. We got Aerotech and a Sapphire 650 or a ProChem 650, and then the 370, and we can handle most of that. But a lot of carpet cleaners, they can't do anything themselves. They can barely change out a quick connect, so they better get friendly with the lawnmower repair guy or the farm supply guy. That's actually what we did a lot. We had big projects, moving the blower, change a motor or something. We went to farm supply places or the guys that fix tractors. They look at a truck mount and laugh at its simplicity compared to that stuff. But yeah, if you're in the farming community, there's usually somebody to help you out. But 5 years from now, geez, who knows, where the truck mount thing's going to be. The Chevy vans are going to be going away here at some point. They're just, what they do, boost up to a 6.6 motor on these, and there's a lot of units out there that are dependent on those other Chevy vans. You look at Butler's and the Hydromaster CDS and that new Mini Aerotech. There's not going to be anything to put them in. You can't put them in a Ram or a Ford Transit.
Well, somebody with the questions, Mike, wants to know if you still have your Jetson or did you sell it?
The Judson? No, I didn't keep that very long. I hated the propane. Had that thing blow up my face once or twice, and I lost my eyebrows and my hair all. I looked like Tom Jones for 2 months, and it wasn't a fan of that. Forget there was a guy, Al Paulson up in Oregon. He came down and got that from me. But I've always been a heat exchanger guy.
Yeah, and you've tried. I mean, you went for the big machines. You were.
I've had them all. Yeah, Steamways, Butlers, every Hydromaster, every Prochem, the Aerotex, Vortexes. But I really like this 370. It's so quiet. It's easy to work on, and for residential where you're just doing 150 feet or less, usually 100. I had to pull out. I had to do 150 the other day, and that third hose looked brand new. After 6 years. Just doesn't see much action, but granted, I can cheat here in the high chaparral. I could leave my waste tank lid off and still get 2 hour dry times. But a 4.6 blower, it's really all you need, especially when you use a green glide.
Have you ever? Another question, like company like Home Advisor to get new clients. Have you ever tried any, or have you?
We've had those discussions a jillion times. Home Advisor is about one of the worst of them, where it's kind of a race to the phone. They somebody fills out a form to get their carpets clean on those sites, and they send out that form to however many people they suckered into it, and they go to 50 different carpet cleaners, and it's the first person that answers them and tells them the lowest price generally. Not a fan of those pay per lead sites. We've always done really well with Yelp, but you do not need to advertise on Yelp. Their advertising is bogus. You just need to be in the top 3 of 5-star reviews, and that a lot of reviews. People are only going to read the first page, but if everybody's got 100 reviews and you got 10, you're out of luck. So you got to be in that high number and have some good lengthy reviews and put lots of pictures and videos, and I think you can do real well with it. But when I'll give you the best tip you can do, when they call you and ask for advertising, just tell them you got more work than you can handle, and that shuts them up. If you hoom and haws, they tell me more, they'll never stop. They're relentless, and all they're doing is selling you like a pay-per-click. They go, oh, well, when somebody does a search on rain gutters or Johnny suck 'em up toilet, they're also gonna be interested in carpet cleaning. No, they're not. People go there very specifically for that, whatever they're looking for. And they look at that first page, and they're gonna start calling from the top down, and the first one that answers their phone gets it. So answer your phone. Probably the number one secret to success in the carpet cleaning industry. Pay someone to answer your phone. Don't answer it while you're cleaning the staircase, huffing and puffing, and
show up on time.
There's lots of shut-ins that'll answer your phones for $20-$30 a day.
Well, we've got time for one last question. Somebody asked if you like the Everest 870.
Do I like it? Yeah, that's a beautiful monster machine. If you need a dual wand slide in, how do you top that? I mean, I think they got that thing dialed. I mean, it's been how many decades in the making, Tim?
Quite a while. It's the only machine they ever gave a 5-year warranty.
Yeah, I've cleaned with it on a few occasions in homes, and it's relative for the size of it. It's surprisingly quiet. They got that, what do you call it, ceramic coat or whatever, all over the exhaust and everything, help keep it quiet. And it's Kubota motor. I mean, I don't think you can top that and worse, I don't think they have competition either in the slide-in. I mean, their competition's Aerotech, but that's a whole different world. You're locked into that big truck and the maintenance of that truck, and you can't do that in a lot of parts of the country.
It's hard to take it to the supermarket too.
Well, yeah, unless you're dual wanding, all the time. But that's really, with an 870, it's for long hose runs and dual wanding. If you're just doing 150-foot residential job, there's no point in having that machine. You're not going to impress the customers that much. Did that go by that quick? 7 o'clock already?
Yeah, Mike, we really appreciate your taking time to visit with us and chat and answer questions. And I think you gave a lot of people some new ideas, and they'll be visiting your board if they haven't been there before, and maybe even Going to a Mikey's Fest.
MikeysBoard.com, MikeysFest.com, GreenGlides.com. Geez. Hey, you know, one thing we didn't get to talk about, which I kind of prepped myself for. We take another minute here. Is this? We'll call it an app, but it's for IICRC registrants. So that's, I'm going to imagine most of your people are. But if you got employees, or what do we call them? Or you're just, you know, you're not all that slick and you got a mush mouth. You don't like to communicate well. You're not able to communicate well. And you find out you're having a hard time letting the customer know why there was wicking on the carpet, or why it still smells like curry after it got clean, or you're having delamination issues, or corn rowing, or rapid resoil. I'm just reading off this list here. We came up with, I think it's 49 different subjects that carpet cleaners come up with that either your phone staff or your techs may have a hard time relating to the customer what went wrong.
Okay.
So we created this thing, and it's still in the works, but you're going to have your tech or your secretary, yourself, can have this app on your phone, which you can easily search one of these things. Let's talk about, medicine and acne stains, for example. We've all had that. We ran the wand over, all of a sudden there's a palm print, bleached yellow. And you're having a hard time explaining that to the customer. You're going to be able to email or text them, or somehow get them this nice formatted sheet that's got the IRCRC logo that links to a consumer-friendly site saying, we are the IICRC, we write the standards, we educate the industry. So it's not just, comes from Joe Blow carpet cleaning website where you can write any excuse. This is, it's coming from the governing source. But, you're going to be easily able to share these fact sheets where, with the homeowner, the landlord can share it with, the other management, or, let's say the wife's, the carpet's rippled after I cleaned it, and you can send them the sheet explaining why the carpet expanded, and she can send it to her husband. Hey, don't be shocked when you get home when you see the carpet doing this. And it's all explained. So it's just, it's a benefit to paying your, your $58 a year registration fee to be, what do you call it? It's a registrant fee for the IICRC. So that was one of my goals there, just to get more value. This is one of the projects I worked on. So that's coming up soon, and that'll be free to anybody who pays their yearly dues.
Yeah, anybody who's certified will get an email about it, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good.
It's a lot of fun.
Thank you again, Mike.
It's,
great.
You bet.
Yeah.
I see this little question. Okay, we got to all of those.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks for having me, guys. That was fun.
Our pleasure.
Fine heartbeat. All right.
Take care now.